Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third video. We're going to have a look at the weather next 10 to 14 days for today's third video, day 10. Will take us to the 10th of July. And we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles because they are around a couple of weeks. And we'll have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video. Next 4 weeks gets us well into the last stages of July. I'll get on that for you in a moment. Just say that the first video today was our 6 AM upload. And if that wasn't enough, we've also released the European Outlook as well today. So please check out those 2 videos. If you'd like to do that, please like, share, subscribe on videos. And thank you so much, everyone, for doing that for us. I'm going to say thank you so much to Paul MC. Paul MC gave GavsWeatherVids, gave me and GavsWeatherVids a super thanks the other day. So this was on Tuesday's video, I think, 10 to 14 there. So thank you so much, Paul, for the super thanks. That's incredibly kind of you, my friend. Thank you so much for doing that. If you would like to give a super thanks to GavsWeatherVids, it's a new feature that YouTube has implemented. All you have to do is click the thanks button there underneath the video player with all of videos, and then you can make a donation and it'll flag up your comment as well. It will colour it and whatnot, and then you get mentioned videos, and your comment will be pinned as well. So unless there's more than one super thanks, and then it'll be the first super thanks that was given, that will be pinned. But thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's incredibly kind to Paul MC for doing that for me. And thank you to all of you for your support. Of course, all of your super thanks, super chats or live streams as well, and PayPal donations. Patrons, channel members. The way you support me and GavsWeatherVids is unbelievable. So thank you so much to each and every one of you, for the support that you give. And special thanks to Paul MC for your super thanks. Thank you so much, Paul. Right, okay, we'll start the video. I'm going to begin having a look at the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. Next up, we're at Leeds today. So red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for Leeds. We're starting off around to a little bit below average at the moment. You'll see those upper air temperatures cooling actually as we go through the first week of July. Things will be turning a little bit cooler with the upper air temperatures. Into the second week of July, we're going to find the upper air temperatures lifting up and going above the red line. So there's still that warming trend going on, a cool down or cooler through the first week of July, and then warming up through the second week of July. You will notice this very dramatic green line just here, which is today's GFS midnight operational run, which really took off and became very, very hot in the acceleration. You'll see it in a moment, but it clearly is an outlier. There are 1 or 2 other GFS ensemble members on Midnight Suite that are sort of doing something similar, notably that run just there, and 1 or 2 others. So we may get a heat spike around the middle part of July, but clearly not well supported at all in terms of that heat spike. It is a very dramatic outlier. So that doesn't mean it's right. Might be a trend set. I'll have to wait and see. So precipitation wise, going to be some showery weather coming up over the next few days. Heavy showers, longer spells of rain over the next day or two. Then there will be a drying trend as we go further on through the first week of July, and then into the second week of July. It looks like things will start to get a little bit more unsettled once again. That might, if it gets hotter, of course, be associated with a thundery breakdown. But of course, we'll have to wait and see about that. Now we've got the anomalies back. So temperature anomalies from the 29th of June to 7th of July, coming out a little bit below average. Precipitation anomalies from the 29th of June to 7th of July, drier than average in many areas, average to drier than average, particularly dry in the southeast corner, but also for parts of western Britain as well, looking quite dry there. Looks a little bit wetter up in the north, but only closer to average really up there. Latest wind flow map from earth-nullschool.net shows that we're bringing wind from off the Atlantic today under a trough of low pressure as well, so heavy showers, long spells of rain, and possibly some thunder mixed in. Right, let's go through the chart data then. This is how the UK met Euro run. It's looking midnight on Sunday. Still rather unsettled with showery conditions, particularly so in the northern half of the country. As we run into the early part of next week, high pressure will gradually ridge in from off the Atlantic and turn things drier then. Low pressure over Scandinavia will pull cooler, showery conditions in there, but high pressure nosing in from off the Atlantic will be turning things drier as we go through next week. Wind is in from the northwest, so it's not going to be a heat wave next week. Probably a little bit on the cool side, particularly for northern areas. But as the high pressure gets closer to us, so we will lose that northwesterly influence, and temperatures should gradually get warmer as the week goes on. Icon looks like that. Again, low pressure being shown weather, particularly to the northern half of the country on Sunday, and then through the early part of next week, high pressure is ridging in from off the Atlantic Ocean, turning us drier through the middle part of the week. That's so as we get to the end of the Icon run, which gets us to this time next week, midday on Thursday the 7th of July, when a nice ridge of high pressure extending in. We're losing that northwesterly influence. Still on the cool side of the ridge, but as the wind drops out, as you lose the northwesterly, we should see the temperature increase. So I think next week we'll have a warming trend, but it's not going to be a hot week next week. It will be the following week that it gets hot, if it's going to, I think. GFS midnight run, again looking rather unsettled on Sunday, top low pressure to the north, meaning showery conditions into the northern half of the country on Sunday. The trend through next week is to keep things rather showery from the early to middle part of the week, and then the high pressure makes it smooth later on in the week. That ridge of high pressure extending in from off the Atlantic, turning us drier and warmer. By the time it's through day 10, the GFS midnight run has that high pressure central right over top of the country. We've lost the northwesterly influence, so it should be dry and warm with that. And then, of course, we know what's going to happen with this. It's going to really become very, very hot indeed. How does that happen? Well, the high pressure continues to sit there into the second week of July, and then gradually eases its way eastwards, and that begins to pull in those south to southeasterly winds. Upper air temperatures start surging up. It becomes much hotter as we go further on into the middle part of July. We've got a lot of hot air over France, and that hot air is gradually pushing its way northwards as well. That plus 20 Celsius ice firm is across England and Wales, so turning increasingly hot as we go into the middle part of July. And then this thundery low develops, so that breaks down the heat, and that'll be a proper thundery breakdown as well. Lots of heat and humidity on the eastern side of the country, gradually easing away though as cooler air begins to come in from off the Atlantic with that thundery breakdown. Very hot, very volatile, thundery, you know, interesting GFS midnight operational run, but clearly, you know, it's a hot outlier and probably won't verify that famous last words, of course. It's how GFS 6 then is looking. So again, we're into that northwesterly flow on Sunday, bringing showery weather, particularly into the north. Then as we go through next week, we keep wind in from the northwest, remains rather showery through the early to middle part of the week. And then in the second half of the week, that high pressure gradually ridges in from off the Atlantic, turning things drier and warmer. By the time we get through second weekend of July, we're under that large area of high pressure, so the weather is mostly dry and warm at that point by day 10th of July, so proper summery spell of weather. Now the GFS 6 does not get as hot as the midnight GFS run. The reason for that is just the position of the high pressure. We don't pull in the wind from the south-southeast, instead we keep wind coming in from more of an east to northeast direction, which is a slightly cooler direction. It's still very warm though. Temperatures will still be into the mid to upper 20 Celsius at least with that. And then we go into the very extended range, and the high pressure pulls away from us, and we pull in cooler and more showery conditions from the north again by the time we get through to the middle of July. So definitely no heat spike with GFS 6 there. Let's have a look at the GFS 6 there ensemble, shall we? You can see that the operation run did become very warm for a while, and is at the warmest end of the range. There are a couple of very hot members again, particularly notably this one just here, this gold run, which does become very, very hot. Again, it's an outlier, but just 1 or 2 hints, I think, within the GFS ensembles, but we might get another spike of heat sometime through the second week of July. We'll have to wait and see, but it's possible we might do. Then again, the most likely scenario is that we won't, though. Right, so if you enjoyed the video, then please you like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. GM, again, rather showery, northwesterly winds on Sunday. and keeping it rather showery through the early part of next week as well. Then high pressure ridges in from off the Atlantic as we go into the second half next week and into the second weekend of July. Seeing this area of high pressure pushing in across the country, mostly dry and potentially very warm with that area of high pressure. Then we've cut off the northwesterly supply, so temperatures will be becoming increasingly warm there under that area of high pressure. And then we've got the ECM WF that looks like this, showery northwestern winds again on Sunday and into the open next week. Still a little bit showery, while the high pressure ridges in from off the Atlantic, almost as much as compared to the other models. That high pressure builds in over the country through the second weekend of July, telling us mainly dry and potentially very warm with that as well. So, I mean, definitely looks like high pressure will ridge in next week. All models are going for that. The question is, what will happen after that? Where will the high pressure go? Will the high pressure go to the east of the country and pull up those very hot temperatures from the south? Or will the high pressure sit over the country, keeping us dry and very warm? Or will the high pressure just pull away back into the Atlantic and allow cooler air to come back in? That remains to be seen. You know, their questions are going to be answered for the second week of July up to the middle of the month. This is a precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from TibetShow.com. So still going to be plenty of showery conditions over the next few days. Very gradually though, we will find those showery conditions easing away and high pressure will be taking over as we go through the course of the last stages of next week. That high pressure sitting over the country and up to day 10. It's mostly dry, just a little bit of patchy rain up in the far northwest. So the trend is a drying trend over the next 10 days or so. This is the option on the table within the ECM ensemble day 4, day 10. Gets us to the 10th of July from the ECM WF website itself. And all members, 51 out of 51 members of the ECM ensembles are going for high pressure. We're sitting over top of the country. So mostly dry and potentially warm or very warm as we get to day 10. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. We'll go to the 15th of July. So 30 members of the ECM ensembles have high pressure pulling away into the Atlantic and dropping a trough of low pressure in from the north. So definitely no heat wave or heat spike with that. That's turning cooler and more unsettled actually for the middle of July. However, we have got a minority option, 21 members of the ECM ensembles have high pressure more or less over the top of the country, and that will bring a lot of warm, potentially even very warm weather with it under that area of high pressure. We will start to see warmth really pushing northwards potentially. So particularly if that high pressure goes a little bit further eastwards, which I assume one or two of these ensembles probably do that, send that high pressure just a little bit further eastwards and allow the hot air to build up from the south. That's a minority option. The majority option is actually take high pressure into the Atlantic and turn things cooler and more showery by the middle of July. CMS finally features a 500 millibar high tonic breaking down into week periods. The first week period takes us from the 30th of June to the 6th of July. Next week, find high pressure out to our west with a trough of low pressure to the east, and the wind flow and jet stream doing something a little bit like that. So rather showery and a little bit on the cool side, if anything, with those winds in from northeast. But bear in mind, through next week, that high pressure will be going in that direction and will be cutting off that northwesterly supply. So by the time we get through to week 2, which will be the 7th to the 13th of July, second week of month, see high pressure right in over top of the country. That's a much warmer position for the high pressure, so will be dry and very warm. Into week 3, which is going to be the 14th to the 20th of July, the high pressure then goes east, and that will allow hot air to surge northwards from the south. This white area probably is a thundering trough of low pressure moving northwards, and then we get through to week 4, which will be the 21st to the 27th of July. The high pressure goes even further northwards and sits over Iceland and in the North Atlantic. Low pressure is just out to our west-southwest. So that's probably still quite warm. I think that's probably still pulling a wind from like a southerly southwesterly direction, but we'll obviously be more unsettled with that trough of low pressure just our southwest. It might be thundery as well. So we probably break down the hot weather with a thundery breakdown and then turn a little bit more unsettled and cooler perhaps for the final week of July. That's 4 weeks away though, so obviously that is going to be really, really speculative. Okay, we're done. If you enjoyed the video, then please you smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for doing that. Drop a comment, let us know what you think about this all of our videos. Thank you so much, everyone. Right, just tell you what's coming tomorrow. I have a 6 AM upload to start us off. I'll have Jeremy Friday and a 10 to 14 day as well. So do keep checking back to the channel for all of the content. But for today's videos, that's all for now. You enjoy the rest of your Thursday. That's all for now. And thanks for watching.